All right. It's my favorite night of the week. It is Wednesday night. It is 7 p.m. And as always, at this time on Wednesday, it is time for the South Carolina Cannabis Conversation. Just firing things up here. I want to kind of give a heads up or a warning that I've been told there's some pretty good storms in my area. Um, my wife shut her computer down. There's been some lightning strikes, that kind of stuff. So fingers crossed that the sky's clear a little bit and we don't have any problems with our power. But just be warned that we may lose power tonight and hiccup the podcast. So just fair warning. All right. Let's see here. Where's my clock? Oh, there's my clock. We're about a minute and a half in. I don't see anybody has joined the room yet, but I'm going to go ahead with our welcome as we normally do and start with all of our meetings are an environment of education and awareness and are not an open market for the sale, purchase, or distribution of cannabis. We do not encourage or condone illegal behavior of any kind. This is also the time of the podcast where I usually recommend or request that you follow our social media, whether it's on Instagram or Twitter, which are both at SC Normal. I think it's slightly different on Facebook, but again, just do a Facebook search for South Carolina Normal, and on YouTube, just do a search. You will find us pop up. Actually, I'd be careful on the YouTube one because we have sort of a second account. So go to the one with the more subscribers, which is like about 120 or so. All right. So, yes, please follow us on social media. I always kind of let you know I do post more to Facebook than I do to the other platforms. But we try to kind of get to all of them at some point, especially if there's big news going on. So whatever platform you follow, please follow our channels or pages or whatever they're called on that platform. Well, last but not least in this portion, I do want to remind you to support our sponsors. Visit our website at scnormal.org and hit one of the drop-down menus. I think it's one of the About Us page, and you will find a sponsors page in there. Check out our sponsors and please support them as they help support us. All right, let me kind of take a peek. I saw somebody pop into the room there, but that's why we record this in case people can't make it in. Let me go ahead and switch banners here. I want to turn this one off, turn this one on. And I'm going to start with our intro and agenda. As you folks know, over the past couple of weeks, VP's been real busy with other things and has been unable to co-host with me here. Thought we were going to have her on tonight, and family emergency kind of popped up. So she will not be on with us again tonight, but I'm hoping things work out. She's hoping to kind of dip a toe back here into the podcast world in the next couple of sessions with us. So let's hope we get things going. As far as the agenda for tonight, I'm pretty excited about it. We are going to be talking with Harry Hemp from hemphomes.com. Did a hemp home build, here on James Island in Charleston, South Carolina, which is my home area. So I heard about a local build. I got pretty excited to buy it. He has done another, I think at least one other build in Pennsylvania. And we're going to learn a little bit about the importance of building with hemp and the process and whatever we can find out tonight. As you know, usually we do a 2-segment program and break the second half of the program into something else. But tonight, I think we've got enough to talk about just on this particular subject that we're going to break this program into two portions. All about hemp building. So hopefully we have enough content to fill and not run over too late tonight. As we get some folks on into the room and in the comment section, if you have any questions about hemp building with hempcrete, don't forget to pop those questions over into the comment section to share with us. All right, that's about all I have for intro and agenda. Let me just kind of check my time sheet. Hey, I'm right on time at the moment because guess what time it is? It's time for our first cannabis trivia question. Hopefully we get them all in tonight. You know, sometimes I forget that last one, but we are going for 3 different trivia questions again tonight. We'll do one before we get started, one about midpoint, and one just before we do our closing and the coming events comments. This is a sports category trivia question. For those that are keeping score, it's a 30-point question. The question is, which UFC fighter said, "I'm against testing for weed at all. It's not a performance enhancing drug." Would that be Conor McGregor, Holly Holmes, or Ronda Rousey? So again, sports category, 30 points. Question is, which UFC fighter said, "I'm against testing for weed at all. It's not a performance enhancing drug"? Conor McGregor, Holly Holmes, Ronda Rousey. In just a few seconds here, we'll get back to the answer on that trivia question. You know, I'm just trying to promote a segment here for sponsors that might want to kind of help support the cause and promote their business. So if you want to promote your business and sponsor a trivia question, just reach out to me through the contact page on our website, scnormal.org, and you too can be a sponsor and have your name mentioned as during our trivia question segment. All righty, let's kind of get back to the answer on this one. Again, it's a sports question. It's a 30-point if you're keeping score. Which UFC fighter said, "I'm against testing for weed at all. It's not a performance enhancing drug"? Was it Conor McGregor, Holly Holmes, or Ronda Rousey? I'm not seeing any guesses in the comment section at the moment, so we're going to let you know the answer to that. Ronda Rousey. There you have it, folks. That's what the card tells me. Excellent chance for tonight. All right. Let me find a place to put that back home. And we're going to kind of get to our first segment. I forgot the answer button. All right. Anyway, let me get this out of here. I did not set up banners for the segments tonight, so I apologize. I will not be posting separate banners. Oh, we got a comment came on in. We have Jennifer Hinson visiting with us. Hey, Jennifer, how are you? Great to see you. I haven't been posted to, what did I just see? I think you posted something pretty funny recently on Facebook. But anyway, thank you for participating. You know we love to have you here. I've got a comment came in from my private chat, probably through my guest. Aha, okay. That is, I've got my guest can't comment yet. I see that because I don't have them on the program here. So let me go ahead and bring in our guest. Our guest tonight, I got to reopen this other button, is, as I know him as Harry Hemp from hemphomes.com. He is a hemp home builder. Let me go ahead and bring him on in and ask him to introduce himself. Hey, Harry, how are you this evening? Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, it's a little quiet, but yeah, I think I got you.
All right. Well, like I said, like I was introduced, I'm a hemp home builder. We've got probably around 7 projects we've been on around the States. But let me start from the beginning. I actually got into hemp and hempcrete specifically back when I was in the Air Force. I was researching medical marijuana and the benefits of that when my grandfather had lung cancer. And I stumbled upon hemp. And I was like, well, what is this? And, I just started diving deeper and deeper. And I got confused why we weren't using it. And it's obviously illegal. It was classified as marijuana with the Marijuana Act of 1937. And then pretty much I got my first book called the Hempcrete book that William Stanwyck out of England wrote. He's the author. And I pretty much read that book back and forth and used it as my study guide to learn as much as I can about hempcrete. Fast forward a couple years, I bought my first batch of hemp, I would say 14 months ago, 15 months ago, from Cameron McIntosh of Amerishav. They are a hemp insulation specific company that uses the E-Reezy mixture and spray system that's based out of France that Damien invented. And then when I bought the batch of hemp from him, he then informed me they were having a training course a couple weeks, in like a week or two in the future. So I joined that training course, which was the first time I really stepped into the hemp industry in general. And then it was like a 3 or 4 day course where he explained the system and explained how we used it. And it was really good because I started networking that, people in America that use hemp. So right after that training course, Cameron actually invited me to a job that was local in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, where we sprayed like 200 batches of the hemp into this beautiful timber frame built home. The owner of that home his name is John. He's been a structural engineer for 40 plus years, and he's very environmentally friendly. He built his garage out of aircrete, and so he designed this home himself. It was actually before it became accepted in the IRC. So him being a structural engineer, the building department pretty much said, hey, you put your stamp on it, we'll allow it. So that's what happened. And John is the general contractor to that build. And so once that happened, well, let me go a little backstory too. I had a general contracting business remodeling a kitchen and bathroom. That's when I met Cameron to buy my first batch of hempcrete to pretty much show people what it was and try to get people educated and understanding what it is. So after, I believe it was a 7-day spraying, I went back to my general contracting company and I had like 2 bathrooms left on my schedule. And before I finished my last bathroom, I got a call about being the general contractor on a 1900 log cabin that was built in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. And they were in the middle of remodeling it. And we came in, we were there for probably about 7 or 8 weeks, pretty much prepping the whole thing to accept hempcrete as its insulation. So we, ran the wire and the electrical, built the floor joist, built out framing for the hemp to be accepted against the wall. And then Cameron then came with his spray system, the E-Reezy, and applied. I can't think of the top of my head how much hemp we did there, but it's a decent sized, really nice sized log cabin. So after that, I was invited down to San Antonio, Texas, to build their first hemp home with Ray Curtley. He had a project going down there, so that was a project that it was a brand new build from the ground up. And so I was there for the framing and the hemping. And then from there, I was able to meet a couple other builders in the industry, Tim White and Andrew Hancock. Tim White of Texas Healthy Homes and Andrew of Lime Life. Those are both their companies. And Andrew worked for Tim, and now Andrew's been working on his own build.
We're here for Harry.
Sorry, did you mean to bring that video up? Did you want to share that?
No, was that me? That was actually Tim White and Ingrid, who I was just talking about.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't bring that up. I don't know what I'm doing, but
okay.
I sent that. I copied the link and sent the link that you sent to me. So I guess that's the doorway into here.
Oh, okay.
So That was Tim White of Texas Healthy Homes. So I got to meet him and Andrew, and then it was around Christmas time I left, and I went to California I'm with Wade Atterbury, and he's been in the hemp and cannabis world for a long time. So it was an honor again to meet him. Very educational, and he's got a hemp processing center in California, and is also working on hemp modular homes for California. And then I went back to Texas, where I was able to help out Andrew Hancock on his build. I really envy him and respect his passion, because he's been building his own cabin pretty much all by himself, mixing all the hempcrete, putting it in buckets and carrying it around, moving the scaffold, hand packing it all, moving the forms and everything. So I said, anytime I'm driving through, I'm stopping here to helping you. So I was able to help him out, and then be able to go to Tim White's build, where they are building a temple in Wimberley, Texas. It's absolutely stunning. It's a dodecagon, timber framed, and it is, they're using it for like a ceremony retreat. So they're trying to, they are using all natural materials. So I was lucky enough to be there while they were doing the adobe floor. So I got to do the adobe floor with them. And then I was invited to South Carolina, where William Stanwix was the hemp builder on the project. He's out of England. So him and his mate, Jamie, they came over, I believe it was in January, to install those hemp blocks. If you want to pull up the Facebook, I could kind of point out the hemp blocks.
Your Instagram or the Facebook?
The share screen.
Well, right now I'm only seeing this one. Healthy. There it is.
So if you could see my mouse cursor right behind, these are the hemp blocks. They were imported. They're from Italy. This is William Stanwyck here. This is his mate, Jamie. This is Phelan from Hemp Building Company out of Colorado, and his building partner, Dom. James was a local graduate of the American Building College. I forgot the actual name. This is Troy. He's my apprentice, and this is Todd, a plaster master out of Virginia. So being able to be at that project, we went there to finish the hemp blocks. We finished it by putting a plaster over it, which is sped up here. This is Todd, myself, and Will. And then this is how the coat is going on. This is actually the final coat going on. You can see how nice and smooth finish it is. It's actually doing the base coat, which the base coat is a little bit rougher. They use rougher sand, and then coming in, make sure the lime plaster doesn't crack so fast. You can see how much water I'm soaking this hemp with. It just goes to show you how extremely absorbent it is. So we got to finish that off, and then I pretty much went back to Pennsylvania, where my apartment is, and now we're gearing back up to go back to Texas to finish that temple with Texas Healthy Homes. And as of what we got going on, like as Hemp Homes, we have a couple contracts that are going through the drawing phase. The architects, like, we pretty much have to talk to discuss the different ways to design the house because, obviously we remove the sheathing and that's going to affect the structural value. So we have to add in cross bracing and whatnot. So, yeah, I guess that's a little synapse of what we've been doing and what I've been up to, at least the past 14 months in the hemp industry.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm going to kind of run through, I showed you the template of questions I'm going to kind of ask. And I'm going to start off with the first one. I'm going to say, what is hemp? Now, most of our viewers that are watching us either on with us now or watching later, they've got a pretty good clue. But, I think it's kind of good to first just touch the base on the fact that hemp is cannabis. Hemp is a very low THC cannabis. Hemp has to be below 0.3% in most areas of the United States, I believe, for it to be considered hemp. I know that there's some growers are trying to get that like THC level in the growing plant up to maybe about 1% because it's very difficult to control that. Sometimes growing conditions can change the amount of THC in your hemp plants. And if it's 0.4% instead of 0.3, all of a sudden it's marijuana and now it's prohibited. So,
so that's a good question. I like to really really make it stern saying it's industrial hemp. It's not just hemp because now, you have the Delta 8 products, you have all those, hemp deprived psychoactive effects that they put on the market. So you see in all the gas stations, which I want to draw a fine line between the two. Industrial hemp is for industrial purposes only. Like we could use the grain as far as like seed, but obviously still illegal to feed cattle because it could be bad for them. But yeah, industrial hemp is grown for the sole purpose of using it for the fiber, the herd, or the grain. So that's pretty much my small definition of that.
correct. Let me go ahead and okay. If you don't mind, I'm gonna share one of the posts from your Instagram up here real quick. So let me go ahead and get this up here. And this is one where you can see in the background, they are turning the hemp in front of fans. They're trying to dry it. And you probably got to kind of look closely and know cannabis a little bit, but you'll see there's no flower on this. These aren't the big bushy flower plants that they're looking to grow. They are growing it primarily for the stem. I'm guessing it's primarily the main stem is where you get most of your fibrous material from.
Yeah. So this is actually at Lucas Nelson's farm in Lucas Evans, excuse me. His farm in Texas, I believe it was right outside of Austin, I want to say. But I went there. This is actually on Thanksgiving Day. We went out into the fields and chopped them down by hand. And then if you could go back to my Instagram, there's another video prior where, or maybe it's right after this one, where we were deflowering it and de-seeding it. Now, just a word of advice, don't Google how the Amish deflower. You might get some funny videos.
That could be interesting, huh?
But yeah, so at this we're drying it out. We pretty much, like I said, we were in the fields chopping them by hand with machete, bundling them up, and this is the drying phase. So I was turning them over just to get a proper dry, and that is my sweet puppy Althea that you see stealing the show.
Quite a cute puppy at that.
She's the true hemp queen. She actually loves chewing up the hemp and decorticating it herself. See, this is ripping off all the seeds and the flour. I hate to say flour because it's more like bushels.
I was gonna say it's probably more like seed pods.
Yeah, pretty
or
much
something along that line. Because what you're really going for now is these long stems. You don't really want that other plant material, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So what we do with the ones I'm throwing on to the left is now they're ready for the decorator, where we feed it in and it chops it up, and you're left with the fiber, which like pretty much all like strains up together, and you shake it out. There's still, hurd in the middle, so you shake out the hurd what you want, and then you get the hurd and the fiber separated. And then after that, we throw the hurd into a cleaning machine, which separates it through pretty much different screens. And then it has multiple functions. It cleans the hurd and also separates the size of the hurd. So for spraying hemp, there's like you want to have about a 1/2 inch piece of hurd. But for the cast in place, you could have more of a range of big hurd mixed with tiny hurd mixed with small hurd. The most important thing is you do not want to have a dusty hurd, because if you have a dusty hurd, when you mix it in with the lime, it pretty much absorbs all the water that it messes up the ratio. So that right there, that's Andrew Hancock and Troy, Tim White, and myself. You can see the bag of hurd right behind Andrew. Those are called super sacks. That's what it comes in. So that's Andrew's build, where, like I said, every time I drive by, I'm stopping in there to help you. I don't know if you could really see it in the background, but there's like, I want to say maybe 4 cubic foot mixer. So you can't really get the normal, big normal batch. So he was actually doing half batches, which I guess working by yourself, that's I guess less of a strain, but you'd have to talk to him about it. But this man right here is wonderful. Like I said, his passion behind the natural and the sustainability and just the Lime Life. That's his company, the Lime Life Construction.
Excellent. I don't think I meant to push that button. What button did I just push? There we go. I'm going to take that down from screen for just a moment, Harry, and it's about time. I have a comment I want to make about all this, but I'm going to hold my comment for just a minute or two while we do our second trivia question of the night. And also, I wanted to kind of do a quick welcome, because I see we had Joey come in, and it's never a party till Joey arrives. Welcome, Joey. And we have Nancy in with us this evening. Welcome, Nancy. Let me kind of go back over to my buttons. I am going to do one more trivia question right now. This is a television category. Again, another 30-pointer tonight. On the TV show Pawn Stars, which reality star got busted for weed? Was it Hoss, Big Hoss, or Chumley? Again, TV category, 30-point question. On the TV show Pawn Stars, which reality star got busted for weed? Was it Hoss, Big Hoss, or Chumley? All right. Again, I'm going to try and sell the opportunity for sponsorship for sponsoring a trivia question to anybody that may like to do that. And contact me through our website and our contact page. I'm reading the comments. It seems like a couple of people already know this. I see our guest Harry already knows this question. So let me go ahead with, find my buttons here, the answer, right banner again. TV category, 30+ point question. On the TV show Pawn Stars, which reality star got busted for weed? Hoss, Big Hoss, or Chumley? And the answer is, as the folk here guessed, Chumley. Very good. Thank you for playing along. Love it. All right. We are right about the halfway mark at 7:30. We've got our second trivia question already out of the way. And our second segment is the same topic as our first segment. We are talking about building with hempcrete and hemp with Harry Hemp from hemphomes.com. And Harry, like I said, I have a comment or question that I sort of wanted to bring up at this point, because you're showing some very interesting processes here. The one I kind of liked was, removing the chaff from the through that basically a rake kind of thing on the last one we just showed. And I've watched other hemp farmers and hemp processors like developing their own equipment to process the hemp. And I just got to think to myself where the industry was in the 1930s when they started making it illegal, and where agriculture was at that point. There wasn't a lot of automation. There wasn't all this equipment that there is now today for doing these processes. And think about how making cannabis illegal and prohibiting it for all those years has stifled the development in the equipment to be able to harvest this very helpful product.
Well, luckily they haven't stopped in Europe. They haven't stopped in China. So as of right now, there's Chinese equipment you could buy, and then I believe the Italians have like the Rolls Royce of decorticators. We've been researching as well about a scutcheon machine, which is what they use for flax, where it just strips the long fibers off, which that really good if you're going for a fibrous crop. If you want to make not high-end clothing on sheets, ropes, and these decorticators now, for the most part they're kind of chopping down the fiber to making small strands, which you can still absolutely use. There's a company called Hemp that they're actually using it in insulation, but they still have some research to go as far as producing a proper product in my eyes. But I don't want to get too political with that, but we're on the right path, and it is going to take more innovation. It is going to take obviously more research and more money to do that. But I think that's part of the fun about this hemp industry, because people come to the hemp job and we start doing like pretty much the cast in place is what we're starting off as, because the overhead, I would say, it's we just need a mixer on site, and we're pretty much we frame the house normally, put 2 form boards on each side, and put the hemp in and pack it in by hand, or you could have a 2x4, and just pack it in like that. So it's exciting to watch people start doing that for the first time. It definitely is a little bit more labor intensive than normal building. So that's where I don't see builders today adopting it, because it's scary. Everything's new is scary, and it's not what they know, and it is going to add a little bit more labor to it. So it's funny watching people come there, because then you see everyone's heads spinning, because like, okay, we have ideas to make this easier. So everyone comes up with a new tool or like a new method, and it pretty much is just putting your head down and doing the repetition.
Yeah, that's why it sometimes seems kind of like back to the either Wild Wild West, or MacGyvering ways to do it, because the process hadn't developed over the decades while it was illegal here in the U.S. It's great seeing some of these new processes coming about. So now you mentioned these blocks were actually made out of the country and then shipped in. Is there any
Correct.
particular reason why they came from out of the country versus being produced right here in the U.S.?
There's no block production in the U.S. that I know of, besides Tim White of Texas Healthy Homes, where they are pretty much building the form at the job site, mixing it, making the blocks, removing it from the form, and he's got a block yard where they dry, and then he just takes them and puts them into his build.
So there is no production facilities that you're aware of at this point in the U.S. that are producing hempcrete block. That's
correct.
That's pretty amazing that nobody's jumping on that bandwagon yet.
There's one company, Matt Marino, Homeland Hemp hempcrete out of North Dakota. He he developed a panel, a 4x8 panel that actually that's what we sprayed in Cameron's training course with the E-Reezy. So it, to me, that is, I would say, the future as far as off-site construction, because the one thing about if you're casting in place at the job site, there's a dry time that you need to wait before you finish it with the lime plaster. Now with his panel system, you could design a whole house, build it in his warehouse, load it up, ship it out, and then you could pretty much put up a house in a day, connecting all the panels to the sill and together.
Okay. Now, one thing I want to kind of to mention, because I don't know if a lot of our followers or listeners are aware, we were talking about the herd, and the herd I think is probably best described as kind of like wood chips in a way, except they're hemp chips.
Pretty much,
and now you need to bind that together. What is he being used to bind it?
So you use lime. There's a hydraulic lime that you use, or there's the only natural hydraulic lime. Now, excuse me if I get the hydraulic or hydrate. Yeah, I believe hydraulic lime mines are in France. So we have lime mines here, but you have to add a pozzolan to it because it's hydrated lime and not hydraulic.
Okay.
I know
And
there's
so the lime's what binds it all together then.
the hemp bill.
Nope, I lost your audio. Harry, can you hear me?
So
Oh,
can you hear me? All right.
Yep,
So
now I hear you again.
the pozzolan is pretty much like a volcanic ash. It's pretty much going back to how the Romans built, ideally, like, because they used the volcanic ash and lime, and as you can see, there's parts of Rome still standing, and it's actually magical because they use the salt water for mixture, and then from what I've read, the saltwater breeze then goes into those tiny air pockets and create a aluminum. Aluminum's something. It's a chemistry word that it's off the top of my head, but so yeah. I don't know if that answers your question, but a little mumble jumble.
Yeah, but that helps to bind it then all together.
Yeah, so
to make it that solid hard product.
Yeah, the pozzolan gives it its hardening capabilities, and like there's like I said, the volcanic ash that you add into it to give it to make it harden up.
Make it okay to sort of to make it as a curing agent.
Yeah, it's binder pretty much.
Okay. Nancy has a question for you, and Nancy's question is: would you save on lumber and other materials by using hempcrete?
Absolutely. So the one thing about designing a hemp home is obviously engineer's approval. We could go 24 on center. So that right there is going to save a percentage of wood. And we now remove all the sheeting. So there's no plywood on your outside. We're removing all the insulation because the hemp is your insulation. We're removing the water and vapor barriers. We're removing the siding. We're removing the drywall. We're removing the latex paint. We're removing the mud and tape you got to put on that drywall. So instead of that, 10, 11, 12 wall system that's normally built, we're using lumber, hemp, and then plasters on either other side. So it's pretty much as basic and natural as you could get.
Oh, crap. I didn't mean to just do that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hang on, folks. I just boo-booed here and clicked the wrong button. Oh, sorry about that. I just clicked the wrong button.
Conversation that boring?
No, not at all. Oh man.
Also on that, Nancy, I would like to touch on that. As you know, it is all natural. So you're getting rid of. I know, like they have this sheep wool for insulation and whatnot, but 9 times out of 10, people are going to be using the spray foam or the fiberglass insulation, where if you ever touch fiberglass, it's not pretty to play with. It's not healthy to breathe, obviously. And the best thing about these hemp walls are there's no VOCs, so there's no off gassing. You're The reason why we remove the sheathing is because the hemp is breathable, so your walls are breathing. So that's why we need to remove the sheathing, so it has a proper pathway. And the hemp walls really, really are great. It's amazing thermal mass. It's really great insulation with an R2 to R3 per inch, and we do a basic 12-inch wall for all exterior walls. So you're pretty much getting a monolithic bomb shelter that is a living air filter as well. So
Yeah, I'm actually reading here in this one document that Hempcrete has an R value of 2.4 to 4.8 per inch, as compared to 0.1 or 0.2 in concrete itself, or a maximum of like 3.8 or 3.7 for like fiberglass is 3.8, cotton batting 3.7. So it's got a pretty good R value, and also the fact that it is antimicrobial. I don't think we've touched on that at all.
Oh yeah, so it's like that's pretty much. I'm surprised I haven't said it yet. It's fire resistant. So I'm in New York right now visiting my family, and we're getting all the smoke from Canada's wildfires. So if you have a hemp home, your hemp home is going to be safe from wildfires. I mean, we've all seen the videos online. If not, you could, YouTube, fire test with the hempcrete. You could, I believe it's 1.5 inches of a hempcrete block, and they're torching it with a propane torch, and you could put your hand behind it. It's not going to transfer that heat. And this is hemp that's not even plastered either. So you got to think, we put a 3/4 inch plaster coat on the exterior and so like the fire rating is amazing. As far as
Yeah, I forgot all about that until you started talking about that. I've seen some great videos of like these big space heater cut flames right up against one of these hemp blocks, and it's completely cool on the other side. It doesn't ignite. It's very, very interesting.
yeah, like Tim White did an experiment at his job site. Is he pretty much built like a little hempcrete wall. They put glass bottles in it, and he just decided to say, hey, let's have our fires here, and just start burning every night. The glass melted, but the hemp wall still stands. He even he scraped the burnt off, and then it would still stand. And so pretty much, if we haven't tested it yet, and this is another one of my issues with the industry, I guess you could say, is like everyone is doing something a little bit different. I would say, as far as the testing goes, the eReezy has they have the official testing for their R rating and fire test. So they are definitely paving the way for the rest of us to. Yep, and you can see his hands right behind there, and would you do that with plywood or your fiberglass insulation?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Very amazing.
And then it's mold resistant because it's high alkaline. It's the lime, so it's not going to allow mold to breathe. And that's another personal reason for me. Like I have terrible allergies, terrible lungs, and I'm very susceptible to mold. And I'm not saying other people aren't, but no one should be breathing in mold. And these houses that they build today, I like I said, I had a remodeling company. I go into this house where they just bought the house and they wanted to do a fireplace backsplash, and I take off the stone veneer that they put on, and there's already mold growing. So I was like, how are these? How is this okay? It's not. And speaking about the normal building, like we, I don't say we builders, normal builders today build for a 30-year expectancy. So that's lines up with a 30-year mortgage. So having your house, which is pretty much one of the biggest purchases anyone makes in their lifetime, is like you want to protect your investment, you want to protect yourself, you want to protect your health, you want to protect the people inside. And there are studies saying like mold will affect dementia, and as you get old, like it's not good for you. I mean, what we got
Right.
penicillin from it, but like shouldn't be breathing it in.
Yeah, I tend to watch a lot of like Reno shows, or used to watch them more than I do now. And invariably, when they're starting to do a tear out somewhere, they're finding black mold. And next thing you know, you've got to suit up and put on your masks and really be careful around that stuff.
Oh yeah, I
highly toxic.
one of my jobs I did when I got out of the Air Force was a mold remediation company I worked for, where we would go in, suit it up, black mold all in their basement, and then blast it with dry ice, and then the mold would be gone. But if it's there one time, it could go there again. So what's the answer? Build something that can't house mold.
All right. I'm going to ask this question. I don't know if you have an answer for me, but it's on this little questionnaire. Are there any disadvantages to building with hempcrete that you're aware of?
The one thing that I say about, like, the one negative effect I say about hemp home, well, not negative effect, the only negative thing is we don't have enough right now. And then while mixing the lime and the hemp together, the lime will burn you. So proper PPE is essential. And then obviously a really good respiratory mask is essential as well, because you don't want to breathe that in. It's one of the longest words in the English dictionary, but Masons know it because it's a lung disease you get when you inhale too much lime, because you inhale the lime, you never get rid of it. So that's pretty much my only downfall, or which is very, very easily avoided by the proper PPE.
Yeah, and I think we were talking a little bit earlier about being a green building material. I'm reading here that it accounts for.
Let me cut you off real quick with that. They're like, because we've been talking about that. They're saying green this, green that, and I want to, along with the other people, like I speak with, Tim White, Andrew Hancock. We're not building green. We're building sustainable.
Okay, excellent.
I don't want to be categorized in, okay, this is a green product, but it still has this massive amount of embodied energy. Our products are carbon banks. So the amount of hemp that you put into your home, I believe it's 43% weight is 43% of the carbon sequestered. So to me, that's sustainable. It's sustainable because we could grow it, and it's the only the biggest embodied energy, it's with the lumber, and then obviously the lime we have to mine. But
right, and the other side too is you're using less lumber, so you're cutting down less forest. So there's less deforestation, increased carbon capture.
Yeah, correct.
It's supposed to be it's supposed to be good for the CO2 emissions. So,
yeah,
cool.
we truly have carbon negative builds, and it's a carbon bank. So once 100, 200, 1,000 years from now, when someone decides to knock down one of these hemp homes, because I really don't think Mother Nature will, the carbon will just decompose and go back into the soil, where in the construction industry, I believe it's 40% of the waste that's in our landfills, and it's bullshit material that affect everyone's health.
Okay, here we were kind of talking about this before, and Josh is asking, does it have to be tested for the THC percentage? He'd hate to have a sled come and steal his house. And yes, to be considered hemp, it does have to be below that 0.3% THC level. But my question on this too is, what about smaller builds? I mean, we're talking about building houses. Would hemp or hempcrete or some sort of hemp building process for a nice big garden shed in the backyard be a good option?
Yeah, that's ideally that's what I'm gonna be pretty much doing here in New York. I'm gonna start with doing the garage back here, and I know Tim White's been a part of tiny homes that they built in Oregon, and yeah, I think the tiny home movement is definitely something to look after, because these tiny homes are pretty much going to be your shelter in place. Because go ahead.
I was going to say, I'll just have to talk to you about it a little bit more. I don't need a tiny home, but I do want to put a nice garden shed in my backyard, like a 12 by 16. And I think hempcrete would be a great opportunity to, be great to use. So thank you for your question on that, Josh. Let me see what Joey's got here. Doesn't hemp have remove more carbon than it puts out? Basically eats up carbon and helps clean up the environment. Yeah, Joey, we were just kind of talking about how hemp does sequester carbon. I don't know if it actually traps more than it puts out. I would assume so.
Oh, absolutely. Like I don't have the exact numbers of how much carbon is sequestered per acre, but it does help clean the environment. The hemp plant does absorb heavy metals out of the soil. It's really, really great to remediate soil in farms to get life. The Russians actually planted it all over Chernobyl, and I was screaming off the top of my lungs, start planting it all over Ohio, where that train derailment happened.
Yeah.
Which all those chemicals are going to factories to create your siding, to create your flooring, and that's what we put in our houses today. So obviously it's not healthy. And then obviously hemp can be a solution and is the solution. So if it was up to me, I would plant hemp all down those riverways and help clean up the that mess.
I like Nancy saying we need a hemp RV. I've seen hemp car builds. I think that's pretty interesting.
Henry Ford created the first car with the hemp panels, and it was actually ran off hemp biofuel.
Wow. Yep. And the federal government says none of that.
Only when we needed it. In World War II, they came out with this Hemp for Victory. It was for
absolutely
to create the ropes for the paratroopers. And it's funny because you watch the Hemp for Victory video, which if anyone haven't seen it, I would highly suggest it. Just YouTube Hemp for Victory, and they explain. And in the video, I laugh because they diss the herd, and they say this is what we're looking for. It's the fiber just to create the ropes. So that's a little. It's like a 15-minute video. I really suggest people watch that.
Yes, yeah, easy to find on YouTube. All right, Harry, we're kind of running out of time for our hour, so I am going to sort of try and wrap things up. Before we do go, I want to thank you very much for joining me tonight and sharing your information with us. Again, anybody who wants to learn more from Harry, visit hemphomes.com. Any final words that you'd like to share with us before I kind of let you go?
Yeah, I think we are more powerful in numbers, obviously, and I think we need to educate people and have proper educators and pretty much spread the good word. And if you can, you can find me on Facebook at Harry Hemp, or my Instagram is Harry Hemp 3, where I'll be posting pretty much our progress on all our jobs. Like I said, my next move is going back down to Texas to join Texas Healthy Homes crew to finish up that temple. And, we're pretty much going for all natural building. And it's for our environment, it's for our health, it's for our past, next generations. And, we really could make a global difference, and hemp will unite us all, as long as as long as the people allow it. And, ask many, many questions, until and then, like I said, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, or, want to get involved in the hemp industry at all. We got a couple builds coming up in Missouri and in Arkansas. So once we do the hemping, I'm going to open the doors to everyone and anyone that wants to be there. So stay tuned for that. And then, just, keep being kind to each other and spread the good word. I
Excellent.
appreciate the
Yes.
input.
I'm sure we'll be following. And as I kind of see some new progress, I may reach out and invite you back to talk a little bit more about what you're currently doing in the future.
I would love
Thank
that.
you very much for joining us. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
All righty, folks. I am going to do one more real quick last trivia question and then kind of make my closing comments and coming events comments. Last trivia question of the night happens to be a movie category, movies. Again, another 30 pointer. It looks like they're all 30 pointers tonight. The question is, in this 1994 film, Jay and Silent Bob sell weed in front of a convenience store. Was it Mallrats, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, or Clerks? So the movies, 30 points. In this 1994 movie, Jay and Silent Bob sell weed in front of a convenience store. Was the movie Mallrats, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, or Clerks? Let's see. Harry Hemp in a private chat is got the right answer. The answer, oh, I see some other answers popping up here in the comment section. Folks who got that one nailed it. It is Clerks. I got to tell you, I don't think I've seen that one. Now I'm going to have to go find it. All righty. Good night on trivia tonight, folks. We got all 3 questions in. We got some good answers from our listeners. Not a whole lot of excitement to kind of share with you for upcoming events, but we do have a couple. Was it last Friday before? Last Friday, we did our first visit to Reggae Nights at James Island County Park, which comes on like every 3rd Friday. I believe the next one is coming up Friday, the 23rd of July. Now I got to look at my calendar to be sure. I said July anyway. 23rd of June. Yep, next one, 23rd of June. Basically, I got there. My team was not able to make it, or they were all kind of spread in other directions. But we had quite a few people stop by, take brochures, chat with me for a little bit. Get what I love them to get is their NORML Freedom Card to keep with your ID so that you can invoke your civil rights and your civil liberties if you're ever stopped by law enforcement. So you definitely want to keep those NORML Freedom Cards, one of those cards with your ID at all times. So yeah, it was a fun night, good music, hung out till probably close to my bedtime, and then I snuck home. But yeah, very nice night. We will be back out for another reggae night, and that's going to be again the 23rd of June. Also, there's another reggae night. I think it is the 14th of July. Don't quote me on that one, but I'm pretty sure it is. And then on the 23rd of July, which is a Sunday, will be our Folly Beach Sweep, Folly Beach Sweep and Cleanup in conjunction with the South Carolina Aquarium Beach Sweep crew. Actually, it's what is the name of them? I don't have it in front of me. I think it's in an email here. There it is. The South Carolina Aquarium Conservation Team that we're partnering with for the 23rd of July for our beach sweep and cleanup and day at the beach. So basically, after the beach sweep, we're just going to hang out, chill, enjoy some beach time. So keep your fingers crossed for beautiful weather on July 23rd and come out and hang with us on the beach. Another quick note has nothing to do with cannabis, but tomorrow is World Ocean Day. There's a number of beach sweeps going on up and down the coast. I know there's like 4 teams down on Folly, a total of about 140 people, 120 people, something like that, signed up to be down there scouring the beach on Folly and the side streets just off of the beach, trying to pick up some garbage and keep it from getting in the oceans or harming turtles and fun stuff like that. All right, and I don't think I have any other upcoming events really to share with you at the moment. So those are the two. Reggae night coming up at the end of June, another one mid-July, and then on the 23rd of July, we have our beach sweep. Last but not least, we will be planning a picnic coming up a little bit later in the probably closer to fall. Planning that for probably Wanamaker Park in North Charleston area, but we will keep you posted on that. I'm C802. I kind of run out of time here, so I'm just going to say don't forget we will be back here next Wednesday, 7 o'clock, to talk about cannabis again. Next week is our second Wednesday of the month, so it will be our regular public monthly meeting. We will do our normal agenda talking about what's going on nationally, legislatively, state level. Nothing legislative going on right now, but we'll talk about elections coming up and stuff like that a little bit. And then, of course, what's going on here at the local chapter. So I've run out of time. I'm going to say good night. Thank you all for joining me. It's been great. See you next week. Bye now.